So, just read an article about a church pastor in Tampa being arrested for conducting services on Sunday. Apparently, violating CDC recommendations, you can be arrested for now. The sheriff's office put out a statement basically, utter disregard for safety, not following the guidelines. So basically, he was arrested, the pastor was, for holding church services on a Sunday. Yesterday, I was talking about the checkpoints and show me your papers. And now today, I'm reading an article about a pastor being arrested for holding services. So now, before you people get mad, why weren't the 499 other people that attended arrested? I mean, they voluntarily chose to go, right? They could have stayed home. And they were live streaming the services over the internet too. So those people could have stayed home. But those people also chose to go. They violated the recommendation. Why aren't they arrested? Should they be arrested? I mean, the pastor did because he kept his doors open. Although he didn't force anybody to attend. He didn't mandate that anybody has to attend. There was no penalty for you not attending church. He just left the doors open. People voluntarily walked in. People voluntarily chose to not follow the CDC's recommendation of social distancing and keeping gatherings of keep gatherings to less than 10. Why shouldn't they be arrested? I mean, you're going to hold the pastor accountable and arrest him when all he did was leave the doors open. Why not arrest the people that chose to violate it? Is that illogical? Does that not make sense? But you want to arrest the pastor for holding a church service. And people are okay with this. On top of the roadblocks and to show me your papers. Two of my biggest things in life is accountability and responsibility. You and only you are accountable for your actions. You and only you are responsible for the outcomes of your choices. Okay? Good or bad. You own it. Nobody can make you mad. You choose to get mad. Nobody can offend you. You choose to be offended. That's my biggest guiding principle in life. That's how I raised all my 4 children. You are accountable. Somebody else didn't make you mad. You chose to get mad based off their actions. Okay? These people chose to attend. The pastor chose to keep his doors open. Okay? Apparently he got arrested. He chose to keep it up, knowing what could potentially happen. So, but the way I see it, these people chose to go. It's their faith, their choice. And everybody's worried about, they can spread it. Okay, well, if these people happen to come down with it because they chose to do something that you deem to be stupid, just don't pay for their medical care. Right? I mean, if they want to go out and do something stupid in your brain, in your thought process, and then they come down with the disease, then don't treat them. Don't pay for their treatment. I feel the same way about seatbelts. If you choose not to wear your seatbelt and you get into an accident and you sustain injuries that would have been prevented if you had your seatbelt on, the insurance shouldn't have to pay for your medical care. That just come out of your pocket. Individual accountability and responsibility. It's their right to assemble. It is. It's their right to freedom of the practice of their religion of choice. But now people are being arrested. There was last week last week there was a or was the week before, lost track now, but a restaurant in Michigan that decided to screw you, I'm staying open. The police showed up, boarded it up, shut them down. Now we're shutting down major highways. Now we're arresting people. Do you see the escalation in this? And it's not because of stupid people or people that just stay at home. No, it's not about that. There's an escalation in this over this COVID-19 thing that we still don't know shit about. Saw an article yesterday too. The Washington Examiner published it about CBS showed a video of an overrun hospital in New York and how bad it was and how dire it was. It was actually footage from a hospital in Italy that they tried to pass off as a hospital in New York. Why would they do that? Oh, my mea culpa. It was an editing error, according to CBS. Okay, where's the real footage? Redo your article, redo your video, republish it with the real footage you took from a New York hospital. Let's see it. You fucked up. Somebody in the editing room fucked up. You know, whatever. Okay. Human. People make mistakes. Show me the real footage. Then, okay. Can we do this? Why would CBS do that? And now it's coming out. This is a killer. It's another level ratcheting up the stupidness. It's coming out now in New York that if you are asymptomatic but have the COVID-19 virus, but you're not displaying any symptoms, you don't have any infection, secondary infection, or anything from it, but you die of anything related to respiratory or cardiac issue, non-related to COVID, that death gets added to the COVID-19 death rate. It's not that you actually died from COVID. You died from a respiratory issue or a cardiac issue. But you're counted in the COVID deaths. Why? And also in New York, mysteriously, miraculously, their flu attributed deaths have dropped by 8% in a month. March is the peak season for flu deaths. People catch it, have symptoms, they get worse, they get sick, they get more ill, they get infection, they get pneumonia, whatever, right? All the complications come along with it and then die. It's a time frame from moment of infection till death. March is the peak for the death part of it because they've been infected earlier in the season. But New York dropped by 8%. Isn't that something? Isn't that, did they come up with a cure and just haven't told anybody? Are they keeping it a secret like they kept all those ventilators a secret? What's going on in New York? Why are deaths that are not directly related to COVID being counted as COVID deaths? Why is CBS having an editing error, showing footage from an Italian hospital with being overrun and bodies and stuff, but attributing it to a hospital in New York. Why is their flu deaths dropped miraculously by 8%, all in New York? And you wonder why you have conspiracy theorists. I'm not a conspiracy theorist person. I'm in a discussion right now with somebody else about this, about why they're kind of blaming or making an insinuation that everybody that's challenging the CDC's recommendations, all that stuff regarding COVID, are conspiratorial people. We're stupid, right? We believe the fanciful stuff. So I'm trying to have the discussion with them that, no, I'm not looking at it that way. I'm looking at it from a numbers perspective. I'm looking at it from cost. I'm looking at it from what's the risk of what's the cost of leaving the economy open and risking the infection of the virus versus the cost of shutting down the economy to prevent the spread of the virus, right? That's what I'm looking at. Right now, I'm trying to explain the numbers don't add up. And it's not conspiratorial, it's just math. It's just people are gonna die no matter what, from the flu, from whatever, they're gonna die. Okay, so the COVID-19 is a pandemic, resulting in some people dying. Okay, I'm not denying that. I'm not saying it was released as a biological warfare agent by China to try to decimate the world. Nope, not even saying that. I'm not saying that George Soros is behind this whole thing and he's just trying to get rid of all this debt he has because if something's labeled as a pandemic, he doesn't have to pay back his money. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that the Republicans did it to try to wipe out the Democrats. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying anything conspiratorial. What I'm saying from a logical perspective, looking at numbers, as cold-hearted as you may think that is, or as insensitive as you may think that is, looking at the numbers, what's being reported, what we're now seeing from false reports coming from just New York, no telling what else is going on, but looking at the numbers, the global response to this pandemic doesn't add up to the measures being taken, like boarding up restaurants, checkpoints on highways, and now arrests. Doesn't add up. I'm not trying to place blame. I'm not trying to accuse anybody of doing anything nefarious. Understand that. My point is this doesn't make sense. There's no A plus B equals C to me. There's contributing factors to disease. There's underlying medical conditions that impact the severity of disease, of the virus, excuse me. You know, there's a whole bunch of things on the table about this virus and this pandemic. Okay. But we're boarding up restaurants, we're shutting down highways, we're arresting people now that aren't adhering to recommendations which start off as recommendations from the CDC, and then the governors and mayors and whatever officials decide to implement certain measures to carry out those recommendations, have now resulted in arrests. All right, so there was a lady, I want to say it was in Pennsylvania, I think, that got arrested for coughing on produce at a grocery store. $35,000 worth had to be trashed because of this dumbass, right? Absolutely arrest her fucking retarded ass. Yes, I said retarded. That's just dumbassery. No matter how you want to talk, whatever, I don't care. That's just fucking stupid. It's like licking ice cream and putting it back. All that bullshit. That's just take them out of the fucking, sterilize them, take them out of the fucking gene pool, please. Stupidity's one thing, but questioning what's going on isn't stupidity. It isn't conspiratorial. It isn't malfeasance. It isn't nefarious. We're just questioning. But we're somehow looked down upon. We get people who talk down their noses at us simply because we're questioning stuff. Well, if you have the answer, answer. Give us the information you have. You might be privy to something the rest of us not. You may be a specialist in the biological field or the medical field, whatever, right? If you have the information, put it out. I'm not talking about regurgitating other stuff that we have access to. But if you have something else to add to or to further explain the necessity of all the CDC guideline stuff, share it. By all means, please. If you don't think people like me can understand it, okay, you're kind of wrong for thinking that way to begin with, but then break it down into layman's terms. Why not do that? Instead of insulting people, instead of thinking they're, some conspiratorial lunatic, just explain it. Justify why people should be arrested, why restaurants should be boarded up, why we should have checkpoints at, state border lines. Justify it. Give us the answers we're looking for. If you have an answer and it makes sense, I'm with you. 100%. But if you don't, if you're just going by same information we see, but it doesn't add up to us, maybe help us add it up. But don't look down your nose at us. Some of us are not crazy. Some of us are not conspiratorial lunatics. Some of us are simply asking questions. You may think we're annoying. Okay, fine, we're annoying. Great. So what? Just because we don't walk in lockstep with everything else that's going on, just because we walk to a different tune and are asking challenging questions, it means we're looking for answers. And what we're being given doesn't add up. I've made multiple videos about why it doesn't add up to my brain. I've given numbers. I've used the CDC numbers when it comes to infections and number of deaths and all that stuff, right? I've used the same information showing where this doesn't make sense to me. I've asked for information that people can't seem to give or get an answer to. Okay, if you don't have the answer, you simply don't have the answer. No harm, no foul. But yet, I'm the crazy one. People like me are just lunatics. Maybe we should be arrested. Maybe we should be locked up because we're rocking the boat. Is that what this is going to come to? We're simply asking questions. We don't agree with what's going on. Are you going to want to arrest us? That's the next step. The guy in Tampa is a prime example. He left the doors open and people came in voluntarily, and now he's arrested. What's the next step? It's already escalated. Are you going to start advocating for people being rounded up and locked up simply because they're dissenters? Because you think you know better than they do? Because you think somehow we are a danger to society simply because we're asking questions? I'm not giving recommendations. I'm not telling people to go out and disobey stuff. I'm not telling people to go, run around, be crazy and, all that. I haven't done that. I'm not advocating one way or the other. I'm asking for justification for what's going on. Because knowing damn well down the road, keeping the economy shut down is going to be hugely impactful on people's lives. You want to arrest me now? You want to round me up and throw me into a, what is it called? A rehabilitation camp? A re-education camp. There you go. Is that where you want us to go? Because you think we're putting information out that's detrimental to society, it's going to get people hurt or killed? Simply because we're asking questions. I hope not.